Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to this vlog. If you are new here, thanks for stopping in for the first time. My name is Jeffrey. I normally do videos on car stuff, my Dodge Challenger, my lifted Jeep Grand Cherokee. That's what I normally do videos on, but you know what? For today, in today's video, since we're all kind of quarantined inside of our houses, I figured this would be a good time to kind of go over what's my YouTube setup, what I have used over the years, what some of the equipment I've used, some of the things I've liked, some things I didn't like, and what's kind of my workflow. So if you're interested in like starting up your own YouTube channel, or if you're just curious to see like what someone else would typically use, just comparing your type of gear or your type of setup to someone else, this is a really good video for you guys to kind of just see what someone else has done over years, and as my equipment has evolved with me, as I've seen like my channel has evolved, so my gear needs have kind of evolved over the years. But without further ado, let's jump right into it. So the number one, or the first thing I used when starting off my channel, which was a couple years ago, it was pretty simple. First thing I really used was something just like this. This is literally the Note 8. I used like a Note 8. I think even before that I used like an older iPhone. I used to film and record everything just off of my phone. I started up doing everything off of my phone since it was the best camera I could use, and I had it with me all the time. I started with my phone, and like honestly, if you're starting off, it's like the best thing you can use. It's just use your phone. You have an HD camera in your pocket. The audio is not the greatest, and you can't really change the lens and like the style and stuff like that. Even though there is some companies out there that actually does sell like little lenses you could put on your phone now. Just starting off with your bare basics, starting off with your phone, that's honestly like your best bet just to start off, see if you actually like doing it. Then after that, I used to edit everything just in straight iMovie, like literally iMovie. I used to edit all of my videos. iMovie is honestly, it's a pretty good program. It's free, obviously, with any Mac OS, and it is actually pretty powerful. I actually used iMovie up until honestly like fairly recent, just because it worked like for everything that I needed it to do. I was able to do just in straight iMovie. I really didn't need a much more. Once I finally got I started to want more features and want more stuff, that's when I upgraded. But I started off with using my phone, editing everything in iMovie, and honestly, it worked for me for a really long time until I was ready to upgrade. And even when I upgraded my actual filming equipment, iMovie was able to handle pretty much everything I could throw at it for the most part. But my primary program that I'm using right now is the Adobe Premiere Pro. Honestly, it's so powerful. You can do everything that I pretty much want it to do. This is allowing me to do it. So the next step for me was just upgrading to a Premiere Pro. But I've been using iMovie honestly for years, and if you're just starting off, honestly, iMovie is fine. Once you know what you want to do, once you know the style that you want to have, then I would say it's worth upgrading to the Premiere Pro. But then just getting back to the camera equipment, for the longest time I used just my normal basic phone and then iPhone. It wasn't until a little bit later that I started using an actual dedicated camera. I don't even know the camera. I actually started off using, it was a normal Sony point and shoot. It wasn't even the Alpha line yet. It was, I forgot the exact camera, but it was just like a normal point and shoot camera. It didn't have any interchangeable lenses or anything like that. But that's what I used to primarily film with. There was no mic inputs or anything like that. I used that for a while until I started to realize oh, I kind of want a little bit better of a camera where I could change out the lens and get a different lens look. And I wanted to have the flip out screen. That's when I upgraded to my Sony Alpha 5100, I believe it was. This was a couple years ago. And the camera line, I believe for the Alpha series, it was already up to the 6500, was already out. So the 5100 was actually relatively cheap. I bought it off of Facebook Marketplace for $200, I believe, and it came with the kit lens. Literally, me and my fiance, we drove out, we met some dude at Starbucks, and I bought it off of him for I think it's $200. That camera I used for a while. Once again, and I noticed a dramatic difference of just using that with the kit lens over to the point and shoot camera. It was a night and day difference. I can just, I remember looking at the film. I was like, wow, this is so much better. And I bought that for $200, and it really was a game changer for me. That really kind of opened up my eyes to see oh wow, I can actually really get a nice unique look, just depending on the lens and the camera setup that I have. The only negative thing about the 5100 is that it did not have a mic input into it. But it did have the nice flip up screen. You can flip it all the way up so you can see yourself. So that was really nice. So I used that honestly for a while. And then I started realizing I wanted to have better audio. With that, I bit the bullet and I sold that camera and I bought a A6300, which was another big upgrade, another big jump. That camera that camera was so much more newer than the 5100. It was really nice, honestly. I literally was using that camera to just recently. And yeah, that had the nice, I can use an actual input mic and have decent audio, which is actually, this is what I'm using right now for this video, which is the audio that you're getting right now. So like before that, I had just the in-body audio and it was okay, it worked all right. You can enhance audio depending on the program that you're using. Like in iMovie, you can enhance the audio if you don't have a microphone, and it sounded okay, but it sounded kind of artificial. I didn't really like the way it sounded when I tried to enhance it and it kind of bring out your actual voice. So after a while, I kind of figured it's time for me to upgrade, and that's when I got the A6300. And then with the A6300, I experimented with a lot of different lenses. I experimented with the kit lens, some other Sony lenses, some other off-brand lenses, and I really tried to figure out the look that I wanted and exactly what I wanted to kind of go with. I knew I wanted something that was going to be a unique style and kind of like just a different look. And a more professional look, you know. So I experimented with different lenses a lot, and now I kind of settled on this lens which I'm using right now, which is the Sigma 1.4 16mm lens. That's kind of the gold standard lens that a lot of people use, and that's what I kind of settled on. And the only negative thing about that lens and that body setup is that the lens does not have in-body stabilization, and the body itself does not have in-body stabilization. So using them together, the footage was extremely shaky. Unless I had it on like a tripod like this, it really didn't make a good vlogging setup or any type of setup that I really kind of needed it for. So that's why I just sold that camera and I bought the A6500 off of eBay. And honestly, it was a great deal. I believe I sold my camera for like almost $500, and I bought this camera that I'm using right now for like $6 something. I forgot what it is, maybe like $650 or something like that. It was a pretty good deal because they were going for a lot more. Like new, I think they're like $1,200 or something like that, or like $1,100, depending on if you have a kit lens with it or not. But yeah, just buying the camera itself, I bought it off eBay. Yeah, it's like $600, but it took me a while to kind of upgrade to get to that point. So yeah, that's so right now my main vlogging and my main setup right now is a Sigma lens with this A6300. And honestly, I love it. For me, it's a great system to use for vlogging. Even I can use it for right now for this type of video where I'm sitting in front of the camera with a light and a tripod, because you get a nice blurred out background and it's fairly wide. I don't know how wide it's shooting, but it's fairly wide so you can see on the side of me. But if I come a little bit closer to the camera, it should be blocking out, you should mostly be focusing on my face. So it's a nice unique lens. But if you're vlogging, if this was out on my arm, you can still see a good distance around me. So it's a really nice focal length to have and a nice blurred out background if you turn the aperture all the way down. So it's a really unique lens and I really do like it. I do have my other lenses that I could use. I have my other zooming lens, which it can make things much more tighter, but honestly, I've been mostly using this lens by itself because it is such a nice style that I really like the way that it looks. So it's once you know how to use it properly, you can really get the most out of this type of lens. And I'm not saying I'm not saying that I know everything about this lens and know how to use it or utilize it to its fullest potential. But the more you use it, the more you learn, the more you experiment with it, the better that you get with it. So yeah, that's the lens I'm using right now. And then as far as computers goes, I have mostly been using Mac OS, but I mostly switched over to Mac just because I like the workflow of Macs just a little bit better. And then obviously I'm using iMovie, and I've just been used to my personal use. I mostly use Mac OS just for myself personally. So yeah, I've experimented with a lot of different of their computers. I used to use way back in the day an old 2012 MacBook. I used that for a while, then I upgraded to a Mac Mini, which actually the Mac Mini, a lot of people overlook them, but they're pretty powerful for what you get. If you have another screen that you can use, and a keyboard and everything like that, the Mac Mini, you can get a really good bang for your buck. You can spec it out pretty well, and it's a lot cheaper because you're just buying the actual computer itself. But yeah, this was my old MacBook. This is like the 2012. Yeah, I used this thing for like the longest time. Wow, I haven't picked this thing up in like a really long time, and I forgot how heavy this thing is. I used this for like the longest. Then I upgraded to my Mac Mini. Once I sold my Mac Mini, then I upgraded to this, my new MacBook Pro. It was the 13-inch, which I used this for work and for just a lot of different things. I use it for work and for editing videos and doing my other side business as well. It was just a great just personal computer, and honestly I love using it. It was pretty specced out. Like this Mac, even though this is only the 13-inch, I had it specced out. I believe it was like a mid-tier spec, and it was able to run iMovie pretty well. This is when I upgraded to start using the Adobe suite. And yeah, it did take a little bit more out of it using the Adobe suite, but it can still handle it pretty well. And like honestly, sometimes I even edit still on this. If I want to edit on the go, I will edit with this. Or if I want to like chill and like hang out with the couch or something like that, I will edit with this, and it can still handle it pretty well. So yeah, like honestly, I've been using the Mac workflow, and it's been great. And then honestly, even I've been using my iPhone 11 Max to like do some video stuff. And I've actually been able to edit a couple videos just with iMovie off of the iPhone itself. And that's been pretty useful, like in between times when like either my camera was down or if I didn't have my camera and I just filmed everything directly on my phone, I was able to edit it and like get everything. For the most part, I can get a decent video with just editing it and filming it directly on this phone. I couldn't do all the fancy edits, but I could do some pretty good stuff though just with using that. So like, yeah, if you're just interested, if you just have like an iPhone 11 Max, or even like a little bit older iPhone, you can honestly get good quality videos with just using your phone, filming it, editing it directly on your phone, and then using the YouTube suite, you can upload your video and like edit all the meta tags and everything like that. You can do that directly from your phone. It's really is amazing of how much power you have just with your phone. And then currently what I'm using as my mostly my workhorse computer is my iMac behind me. It's a 2019 version. I actually bought that one refurbished from Apple. It's been great. Like now I have it set up with the dual screen at my standing desk, which it has been great to use. So that's what I mostly use for, obviously for like work and stuff like that too, but I also use it for doing YouTube and editing most of my videos. I really like having the dual screen, and the screen over here. This is the screen I use when I just had my Mac Mini, and also before I had the iMac, dock my MacBook here and have it on its own like stand, and then have it set up with the other screen. So that's what I kind of used for a while as well before I had the iMac. And yeah, that system worked for me pretty well. I like having a standing desk just because it helps me stay more relaxed, and I can stand up and just kind of like just chill and edit and do whatever I gotta do. It honestly is great. This actual standing desk was like, I don't know how much. It was like maybe $50 on Amazon. It's not the greatest one because you have to manually turn it up and down, but I just leave it up because I like having it out here. I used to edit stuff inside the other spare room, but I didn't really like having all my stuff inside the spare room where it just felt like I wasn't involved, or just felt like I just kind of liked having my stuff kind of like in the general living room so I can be with my fiance, like out here with the dogs, and just kind of like with everyone else. If other people were over, I can just use my computer still, and didn't have to be so like tucked away inside like a different room. But yeah, so if you're looking for like a good setup to use, like to do stuff like that, and you don't have a lot of room, these type of standing desks are great. This one's pretty narrow, so it's kind of, it's literally fit in between like a chair over there and like a bookshelf. So it's pretty well like just kind of like in there, and it's just goes vertically up, so it works fine for me. I have my speakers down beneath it, and I have some extra storage, so I have some other stuff down there underneath it as well. But my gear for the most part, since I'm mostly doing vlogish style stuff and much more of like automotive stuff, or sometimes it's like run and gun, I'll show you guys kind of what some of my other stuff is. I will input that in here now, and this is where I keep kind of all of my extra stuff. Like I have other lighting, smaller tripod, keep some of the podcasting gear like it's left inside here. gimbal, like my action cam, an extra light bulb for the lighting assist equipment, some extra camera gear, and then I have like my big case with my much more usable camera gear. I keep it all inside this thing so I can just like really quickly get it in and out whenever I need it. And then real quickly, I have my small rig stuff for my camera, an extra mount, extra tripod, my other lenses, which actually I have quite a few right now. This is the kit lens and like my other Sony lens, which is that. The case for my Sigma, some extra like little LEDs if you want to have something quickly, some extra mounts, and extra cords and extra like battery packs and SD card to keep in there. So this is like my quick and essential kit that I kind of have. So all this stuff is mostly going to be used a lot, so that's what I kind of keep in here. Or I just have it like if I'm going to go out and like shoot and I don't fully know what I fully need, I'll grab this. And then sometimes I'll grab the gimbal if I want to get some beauty shots, or the action cam if I want to do some more POV shots. And then lastly, some of the other quick things is, since me and my fiance, we just started doing a video podcast, I do use, obviously I have my tripod. We have our actual lights, which actually I'll show you guys what the lights look like. These lights were really cheap off of Amazon, and they work great. Like, I can use them in here to light up this room, because it's actually nighttime outside right now, and I have the lights off. I just have this basic, I have one light over there that's like a just lamp, and I have the actual lighting that's off to the side, and it's like, as you can see, it illuminates pretty well. I didn't think these things were like $35. I bought 2 of them, and they work great, honestly. And it's great for like doing like a podcast, and you just set up like a like an area, because we literally film the podcast in the same room, just over there off to the side is where the table is, so that's where we film it at. We do have some like cheaper mics. Just plug it in. I literally plug it into my MacBook, and I literally record straight into GarageBand, and that's how we kind of pretty much do that. We set the camera up on a tripod. If we want to have a dual screen or like a dual angle, we can set up either a phone or another camera up on another tripod. It's a pretty simple setup. So but my gear is evolving. For the podcast, we are going to get different equipment and like more professional equipment, but for me, I'm just waiting for us to like get, once we have been doing it for a little bit longer, for like, I say once we do it for a full year and we like it enough, then I'm totally in investing in doing like a full-blown like a MIDI system, and like better mics, headphones and all that good stuff. But it really is a slow process. Like, my gear is nowhere near as expensive as some other people's gears, but I realize I know what I kind of like and what I used and like what I need certain things for. Like, I bought stuff I didn't really need and I kind of sold it. So the reason why my gear line is kind of simple and simplistic, because I know what I kind of want, but it took me a while to kind of figure it out. Like, the one thing I do use, which I don't use as much, is the gimbal, only because now this lens is a little bit too heavy for the gimbal that I have. So I have to use the kit lens with the gimbal that I have, but it kind of defeats the purpose, because I like this lens has a nice crisp look. I want to use the gimbal to get nice crisp footage, but it's just a hassle. So I don't know, I might sell that gimbal and upgrade to a much bigger or better gimbal. But once again, it's trial and error with a lot of this equipment. Right now I have actually a cage on the camera. It is the SMALLRIG cage, which actually is great because I can remount the microphone, which is over there, is off to the side, and I have an actual handle on it, and you can upgrade and put stuff all over it. Like, people have upgraded their A6500s and 6300s up to look just like a Red camera, to have external monitor, and to have an external battery pack, have a more stable legs and all this whole bunch of other stuff, and have a whole different audio input. You can really use with the SMALLRIG setup on your camera. You can really upgrade your camera and add on much more like peripherals, and like just you can have your camera do a whole bunch of different stuff. So that is a nice system to have. That's the reason why I started upgrading my camera, because I think I probably won't need all of that stuff, but it would be nice to be able to get it and like upgrade my camera more and more as time goes on. So that's the reason why I have that on my camera right now. And then other small little things, I use like a external hard drive, which is great because I mostly save all of my like assets for videos and stuff like that on like a hard drive, so I can easily go from using this computer to my MacBook, or if I need to go to a different computer, I can use that, and like I have all my Adobe files and everything just pretty much stuck on here and like backed up as well. So that's always a nice thing to have, so you can have your workflow be much quicker no matter what system you're using. You always keep a nice notebook with me to always take notes and to kind of plan out the different video ideas and just anything I'm thinking. I always have a notebook with me. I've always carried a book bag with me. Right now, yeah, I've had so many different book bags from different brands, but honestly, like I've always loved the North Face book bags. I honestly have like I think like 3 or 4 North Faces at this point in time, but this Nike book bag, I just like it a lot because it has a giant open pocket right in here, and it has a nice laptop section in the back. And this type of book bag, it's really like water resistant. I wouldn't like take it out in a rainstorm and like expect your gear to stay completely dry, but it's meant to be more of a gym bag as well. So I like this camera bag as well because I can put my camera in here, protect it up, but yeah, and I can use it for pretty much anything. It's just all black. It looks great. You can use it for pretty much anything, and it looks cool. And then lastly, I use these, like, I forgot what these are called. There's going to be links down in the description if you want to check out anything. But yeah, this is kind of like a camera, like, I don't even know what things are even called. It's like a pouch. You can like pretty much make all of your stuff, like you can just pretty much like wrap your camera up in here. It's pretty resistant, as you can tell. Like this thing has got ripped up, but I use this thing a lot. Yeah, sometimes even if I don't want to like even when I'm storing my camera, I will still wrap it up with this, and I will even like use this if I'm putting it in my bag or something like that. If I don't have like a full camera bag and I want to just have it not loose but like tightly together and like protect it, I will wrap it up with this, or wrap up the lens if I don't have the case for it. So it's like these are like great. Lastly, right now I've been switching over to like a movement fanny pack or side poncho like slouch thing, which actually I'm kind of experimenting with using because since my entire life I've always used book bags, but now I'm realizing like sometimes it's easier to have like a pouch instead. So that's what I kind of use as well. And I'll either like attach my camera to it, or I'll have some camera like equipment or like my lens cleaner or something like that in here, along with like my obvious like my other like everyday carry items. I have that in here as well. If I'm going out just shooting, I usually like have my camera on like some type of strap or something like that. Or I might attach it to this if I have this like on like my chest or something like that. It is easier just to get the camera in and out because I was finding having the book bag all the time, which is nice that you can carry more gear, but it took much more time to stop and go take it out, get it set up, and then like get your shot and then put it away. Sometimes it was nicer just to have like a simpler setup. And yeah, it just kind of just helped with the whole flow of just filming videos and just getting everything done more that run and gun style. Yeah, guys, that's pretty much my setup, and I've been using this. Once again, my setup has evolved over time. I didn't know quite what I needed, what I didn't need, and I'm still learning and still figuring out exactly what I need and what I don't need. But yeah, this is a evolution. It's not, you know, like an absolute thing. Who knows? In 2 weeks from now, I may sell everything and like have a completely different setup. I can switch over to Canon or something like that. Who knows? But that's kind of what I do for a lot of my stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, besides I didn't mention, I use Lightroom, Photoshop, and stuff like that to do like thumbnails and stuff like that. But, you know, and do like photography stuff. But that's pretty much what it is. But hopefully this was kind of informative for you guys if you're interested in like what's a decent like YouTube setup, YouTube gear, or YouTube haul, whatever you want to call it. If you're interested in starting up your own channel, or if you wanted to see kind of like what I use to kind of set everything up, that's kind of what I use. But yeah, guys, hopefully we will get back to some more car content soon on the channel. But this was just something a little bit different. Sometimes I like doing stuff that's different just to let you guys know, you know, like what's up. But I think I'm going to end the video here, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you like this video, give it a like. Follow me on Instagram, Omega Greed, the same name as the YouTube channel. Subscribe for more. Follow me. Go to geekswithcars.com for more information. And yeah, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.